I truly believe that there is so much chaos, anger, and destruction in this world today, not because people are evil, but because so many people don't know why they're here. And when you don't know what your purpose is, when you don't know your God given gifts, frustration builds. And then sometimes those people turn that frustration inward. And then there are others who will take that out on everyone around them. But Romans chapter 12, verse 6 tells us something incredibly powerful. We all have different gifts, and according to the grace given to each of us. So that means that every single one of us has a gift, not just pastors, not just leaders, not just successful people, all of us. And so today I want to talk about why so many people struggle to find their gifts and what keeps us blocked from discovering our calling, and how to practically identify and implement the gifts that God has given you. Because the world doesn't just suffer when gifts go unused, people do. Okay? So, once again, everyone has a gift. I need us to agree on this mindset. And because this sets the foundation for everything else I'm going to say, all right? So everyone has a gift. And so your gift is not accidental. Your personality is not random. Your experiences are not wasted. And let me clearly say this. God didn't create extras. He created contributors to help further his kingdom, to serve other people, to make a living, to bring order instead of chaos. Not just for the church, not just for fun, but for impact. And so one of the main reasons, again, why the world feels so chaotic right now is because one of the biggest issues that we're seeing is that so many people are angry, lost, and destructive because they don't know their purpose. And so they feel behind, they feel overlooked, and they feel irrelevant. And instead of discovering their calling, some choose to lie, some cheat, some steal, others choose to tear others down. And so when people don't know who they are, they often have a tendency to hurt people who do know who they are, right? And I want to repeat that again. When people don't know who they are, they often hurt people who do, okay? And so I truly believe a lot of the chaos and destruction that we're seeing is rooted in identity confusion. So when you don't know who you are in Christ, it can cause you to feel frustrated. And that frustration, if left unchecked, becomes extremely destructive, okay? And so one of the topics that I want to address as well is that God gave you your gift to make a living too. And so many of us, especially those in the faith-based spaces, I want you to realize that God is not offended by you earning income from your gift. Okay, you're not charging for the gospel, but the book you wrote, the course you created, the workshop that you structured, the coaching that you offer, those are expressions of your gift. And if your gift solves problems, creates value, and meets real needs, your gift is spiritual, but it's also practical. And so the Bible is full of those gifts who sustain them. There's nothing wrong with stewardship. And quite frankly, if someone chooses to buy what you create, that's wonderful. And if they don't, that's fine too. But I don't want you to shrink your gift out of guilt, okay? You can charge for your gift. Something that keeps us from finding I want to talk about also what keeps us from finding our gifts. And so most people, again, we all have a gift. Most people don't lack gifts. What they lack is quiet. And here's what blocks us: noise and distraction, comparison, the fear of being wrong, the fear of starting over, listening to people more than God, and staying busy instead of being still. Let me say that again. Many people don't lack gifts. What they lack is quietness. And you can't discover your calling if you're constantly distracted. And something else I want us to think about is, how do we actually discover our gifts, right? I know a lot of you are probably wondering, okay, so how do I actually discover that my gift? So I want us to get practical about this. Step one, go to God, not Instagram. All right. We're going to pray. We're going to read the Bible. We're going to sit with him. We're going to journal. about experiences that keep coming up in our lives, God is not hiding your purpose from you, but He is waiting for you to ask what your purpose is, okay? Step 2, I want you to pay attention to the patterns. Ask yourself, what do people consistently ask me for help with? What energizes me? What drains me? What comes naturally to me? Your gift actually leaves clues, okay? Believe it or not, your gift leaves clues. And then step 3, I want you to follow the breadcrumbs. God leads through people, resources, opportunities, but you have to be willing to move. And so many times, clarity is going to come through obedience. And if you're someone who wants structure and guidance around this, I recently taught a workshop called Activate Your Calling, where I actually walk through how to identify your gifts, clarify your calling, and start building authority around it. So I'll leave that linked in the show notes if you believe that that would support you. So I want you to also think about once we have a handle of what our gifts are, how do we go about implementing them? Because our gifts are meant to be used. They're not just to sit there dormant, right? So once you know your gift, the responsibility shifts, okay? You probably might consider teaching a workshop, mentoring, coaching, creating content, building a community, leading events, writing, speaking. Again, your gifts are meant to help other people. They're not just to be, sitting there and you relishing in the fact that these are my gifts. No, you're supposed to use them, okay? And here's the key. A gift unused doesn't just affect you, but it affects everyone that you were meant to help. I think a lot of us don't realize that. We are all connected. We're not little silos. We are connected some way, somehow. And so if you're not using your gift, it is affecting someone else that you were supposed to help. Now, that's not to say that God can't work around it, because He's God. And of course He does. But why wouldn't you want to be the missing piece to someone's puzzle, right? And so the world doesn't need more noise. What it needs is more people that are operating in their God-given gifts. And so if you have been feeling frustrated, stuck, restless, it might not be burnout, okay? It very well might not be burnout. It might be an unfulfilled calling. This week, I want you to ask God, hey, God, what gifts have you given me that I've been ignoring? And I want you to sit still with that. I want you to sit still with that uncomfortableness that I guarantee you that you're going to feel. And I know, speaking from experience, because when you walk in your gift, you don't just change your life, but you bring order to where there was chaos. And that's exactly what the world needs right now. So if this message resonated with you, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and sign up for our email community in order to receive more faith-based content. And remember, if you're everything to everyone, then you risk being no one. You never know who you will inspire. See you next video. Have you ever looked at your life and thought, God, I thought I'd be farther along than this? Maybe you're single, maybe you're rebuilding, maybe life hasn't gone the way you planned. Let me remind you of a truth most people won't say out loud. Your life does not start when a relationship begins, your purpose doesn't wait on a ring, and your calling doesn't need permission from anyone but God. And that's exactly why I wrote How to Live an Extraordinary Life with or Without Mr. Right. This isn't another book telling you to sit still and wait. It's a roadmap for becoming the woman God created you to be. In your joy, in your purpose, in your gifts, in your confidence. Inside, you're going to learn how to hear God's voice above the noise, build a life that excites you, break free from comparison and timelines, and walk boldly, knowing you are already whole. You are not behind, you are not forgotten, you are becoming. Grab your copy today and let's build the extraordinary life God designed for you. When clarity turns into action, execution matters. Starring You is a consulting firm for individuals and organizations ready to implement with clarity and intention. Through one-on-one consulting and strategic support, we help individuals and organizations refine their message, build brands, create content, and launch podcasts, books, and offers with structure and confidence. Starring You is not about rushing the process or copying trends. We focus on individualized strategy, clear direction, and intentional execution. To learn more or to book a strategy session, head on over to starringyou.com. And that's STARENGU.com. Head on over to starringyou.com.